Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to demonstrate how I make Seamoss Gel. And Seamoss Gel is specific for the thyroid, and I like to make it using a rich source of Irish Seamoss, and it's carrageen Irish Seaweed, and I get it in my local health store, and it's a really good quality. So when you're making Seamoss or Seamoss Gel, be careful of the source of your Seamoss to ensure that it's the best quality that you can find, basically. So how I make it is I simply take about half of the packet of Seamoss and put it into a Pyrex dish or a large dish, and to that dish I'm going to add some, you can either add distilled water if you have it available, or good quality. We have well water here, so we're lucky. Just try and avoid tap water that comes from the mains with all the contaminants that are in water. You want to keep your Seamoss Gel as healthy as possible and keep the level of toxins out of what you're trying to make. The thyroid is essential for so many functions of the body, especially for producing thyroid hormone T4 and T3, along with helping to play a role in monitoring calcium levels within the body. So we always want to look after our thyroid. To this half bag of Seamoss, I'm simply going to add the water, and when it reconstitutes, a fancy word for soaking up the water, so when it soaks up the water that you add, make sure the water is cold, because if you put in warm water at this stage, you'll extract the gelatinous quality of the Seamoss, and that's something you want to save for when you actually blend it. You want to keep that retained within the Seamoss itself, so ensure that you're using cold water to reconstitute your Seamoss. And this process happens pretty quickly, but I tend to leave mine overnight. If you're doing it during the daytime, you can come back and forth a few times during that process and just rinse it under the tap. Again, you're just removing any toxins or dirt that might re-establish once the moss is hydrated again. You can just rinse it under the tap, strain the dirty water and put in fresh water, always ensuring that you're using cold water to, as I said before, to retain the gelatinous quality of the Seamoss, so that you can make your gel in the end. So I'm going to leave this, set this aside on a counter overnight, and tomorrow we will strain it, add it to our Vitamix blender, blend it up, and you can vary the quality or the thickness of the gel itself. If it's too emulsified, you can add more water, and if it's too runny, you have already added too much water, and there's very little you can do about it at that stage. So just gradually add small amounts of water until you get the consistency that you so desire. I like to use my Seamoss Gel in a variety of ways, but mainly I'd add about a tablespoon per day to a smoothie. And I wouldn't have a smoothie every day, but maybe every second day or 3 times a week, depending on whether I'm working or I'm off or what time of year it is. In the summer I might have more than in the winter, but I try over the week to at least have 3 opportunities to add Seamoss Gel to something that I'm making. It could be, let's say, a smoothie. It could also be those little frozen chocolate treats that you put in the fridge. You can add it into so many different dishes because it's quite tasteless. There's no real strong taste from the Seamoss Gel, so especially with children as well, you can sneak it into dishes and they don't really notice that it's there, and it's playing a huge part in their maintenance of their health, in feeding their thyroid. And the substance actually that's in the Seamoss Gel is iodine, and we need iodine for so many reasons in our diet, for the uptake of nutrients, for brain function, and this is a natural source of iodine coming straight from nature itself. So I hope this demonstration inspires you to give it a go. It's a very simple process and will save you a lot of money in the long run. It's quite expensive to buy these ready-made products. Again, you don't know what's in them. Is there preservatives added? This way you know exactly what's gone into it, and When it's fully made and blended, you can store it in your fridge in a sealed jar for up to a month. But I make small quantities, so I normally consume mine within 2 weeks, because I find after that length of time there will be, you can smell the sea off it. The smell of the seaweed starts coming through and getting a little bit stronger, so that might put some people off a little bit, but to me it makes no difference really. I could still add it to a smoothie.